think as a person of colour in this country, if you speak outside or you bring something that's different to what's known to people, they tend to call you radical. But actually, it's just about us saying, well, actually, that doesn't work anymore.
When you're young, you're told by every single platform that Māori is lazy, that Māori is stupid. You're not going to succeed if you're Māori.
What I love about footy, definitely fending people. They call me the Tina, the Tongan Tank.
We want to retain our individuality as a race. If judged by your standards we fall short, does it matter very much whether we square up with the Pākehā standards or not?
He matauhoka ki tea, mā te huarahi ka whāia e te tangata, me tāna whakamahi o na wheako.
Growing up Tongan, being the only daughter in my family, the expectation of me to be strong in the Christian faith and at church is huge. It's a very contentious space because even though I have a Muslim husband and my kids are Muslim, I think the fear that people won't accept me or see me as someone they want to speak, you know, and talk about them and our progress or the things that don't work for our community. Malolele, my name is Melissa Lama, I'm Tongan. I would say that my role is a community advocate.
When I met Melissa, we actually played volleyball together, and she done something sneaky and got my number and then texted me, and that's basically how we met.
When I met him, we started talking. I could say we were going out, you know, and a short time after he converted to Islam. Being young and not aware of what Islam was, but only what I saw in the news, I was like, how dare you decide to just convert without telling me? Like it was something that I should have decided for him as well. But coming to Islam, it was a decision I had to make because to be fair, authentic and honest, I didn't want to lose Akmi. I cry about it because I'm out here saying to people, you know, you be yourself, you be your independent self. Yet, you know, I chose to convert on the basis of love. I'm grateful that I did because now I know for myself that it was the right decision.
This is one of New Zealand's darkest days. What has happened here is an extraordinary and unprecedented act of violence. New Zealand is their home. They should be safe here.
So the day of the shooting, my husband and 2 kids were in Christchurch, and I was away at a gathering in Wellington. The moment I realised that the shooting had been at the mosque, I had thought the worst straight away.
I was in the car with my son, Issa. We were driving to the mosque and he actually fell asleep. And I didn't want him waking up in the middle of the service, disrupting everyone. So I done a U-turn and I shot home to my wife's mum's place and I dropped him off. And then by the time I got to Dean's Ave to pull into the mosque, it was all closed off and all the shootings had already happened.
The Royal Commission of Inquiry into the Christchurch attacks, I was fortunate enough to be asked to be a part of the Muslim Community Reference Group. And I guess our sole purpose was to come together as a Muslim community and give advocacy or voice of the wider New Zealand Muslim community. When you're in the Royal Commission and you hear the different stories, my heart sinks for them, and I always wonder why. Why do I still have my family here? It just encourages me more to ensure the voices of the victims and their families are at the forefront of what we do. Ensuring that whatever recommendations and things that come out of the report, that also my Māori, Tongan, Scottish children, their diversity is safe moving forward in the future. One of the community advocacy works I'll say I'm doing at the moment is the petition we had against armed response squads or armed response trials that the police had brought out after the March 15th attacks in Christchurch. The police have come out and said there's a lot of unconscious bias within the police force. To me, that rings a lot of alarm bells, Misconduct in regards to treatment of Pacific is real, and when I think of the stories of my elders, the stories of my mum, the things that my mum used to teach me, we would drive down the street in Christchurch, even though we had a seatbelt on, was don't look at the police, even though they're driving past. And every time we'd just have a little geese, you're like, yell, And I still wonder, why does she do that? There has to be better approaches when it comes to policing and safety and what that looks like. And I'm grateful that we have them around. I do think it's important to also recognise the other aspect of why communities need to be at the forefront of strengthening our safety as opposed to giving the government or the authority to people in uniform. So we're at the University of Otago, Dunedin campus. Currently I'm a full-time student here, studying Bachelor of Arts, majoring in politics. At the moment I've got 2 more papers left for my undergrad, and then I move into my postgrad with the MBA, so that's a Masters of Business and Administration. So I get asked a lot, why do I study politics when I'm already working in government in the public sector? And for me, I always believe that it's really important to have the theory behind a lot of the practical sides of the work. I guess do love to understand the theory behind why people in power make the decisions they do. Got pregnant at 18, had my first son, Amoni, and it was tough. I work full-time, study full-time. I don't recommend it. But because we did things quite young, this is the situation we're in. And to be honest, I'm probably not your usual hands-on mother. My love for my kids is huge, but I do travel a lot. A lot of my work does take a lot of mental and emotional capacity. So the main speakers will be MJ, Kaufusi, Balanite, and then us introducing ourselves.
While she's away, all of the day-to-day stuff that we do doesn't stop. I work and study simultaneously, and my motivation behind that is to be able to make more money to ease the stress on our family, because I believe her time is extremely valuable to the community that she engages with.
Sita drafted up an awesome email to kind of put them in that mindset, that you have a duty to be of support for our students. I think as a Pacific woman, as a person of colour in this country, if you speak outside or you bring something that's different to what's currently happening or known to people, they tend to call you radical or something like that, but actually it's just about changing that mentality and that behaviour that they've been so used to. And actually us saying, well, actually that doesn't work anymore.
Kua kore e ara tāu I kore ai, I kite. Ka whakaākona te wehi ki a tātou. Ka mutu me he pīrangi ka tāia te ako kia puta.
I'm a portal. I'm a woven woman. I'm practically a painting filled with strange strokes and dots that form fully when you take a step back. I'm the mermaid swimming between worlds, the Pākehā and the Māori, the creative, the academic, the dream, the reality, the introvert, the extrovert, the mountain, the sea, a Māori mermaid, that's me. Ko taranaki te maunga, ko whanganui te awa, ko Aotearoa tanganui te waka, ko mahurihuri te hapu, ko ngāpui, ko ngā tirua nui ngā iwi, ko Jess Thompson, toku ingoa. I'm from Ōtepoti, Dunedin. My Instagram handle is Māori Mermaid. That's my artist name, I suppose. My drawing and my digital art is a way I navigate who I am and my place as a Māori and Pākehā wahine. In primary school, I was really confident in my identity and I'd just blurt my mihi out to anyone who came around. And then getting into high school, the way that society is, it wasn't cool to be Māori. When you're young, you're told by every single platform that Māori is lazy, that Māori is stupid. To be a certain way, talk a certain way, you're not going to succeed if you're Māori. When I was in high school, I would copy sketches from all the art books that I could find in the library to learn about the way that bodies worked and the way that I could draw hands or feet or different expressions. I feel my most calm when I'm drawing, my happiest. We don't have any control over anything, really. And, we're all dying, so it's really important to have something that makes you feel safe. I got my iPad start of last year. People watching this, if they know how Procreate works, they're going to be real frustrated because I'm colouring in so much. There's this button that drops down the colour and actually fills it in. But personally, I really like the therapeutic feeling of colouring in. In my first year of university, I would say, I'm Māori. I'm ngāpui ngā tirua nui. You'd get challenged, you'd get, but how much Māori? What percentage are you? I got a lot of comments like, I don't really see it. I guess I can see it in your mouth. And then they just leave it like that. And it's like, oh, what just happened? Okay, great. I'm glad that you can at least see a little bit. That validates me. But later into uni, I went on a student exchange. And there's nothing like a student exchange to, get you to have that identity crisis. Being away from this whenua, being away from my family, really forced me to reflect on who I am. I was going all around Europe. I would tell people I was Māori there, and no one would challenge me. And they'd get really excited, but then they'd ask me all these questions that I didn't know the answers to. And I would have freakouts and panic attacks about this because all of a sudden someone wants to know about my culture, but I don't even know about my culture. When I got home, I started talking to my mum more about it. I wanted to know about more family members. I wanted to know about how far down the line can we trace. When you learn about your tipuna and you really start to feel a connection, it's like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm actually never alone. Why was I so scared? And it slowly turned into drawings and creating art and writing poetry to make sense of it. Gardeners and voyagers, people who soothed and fed tamariki to urge the waters forward, sung their descendants into the soil. I live for you, I breathe for you, I move with you. My veins are ribbons, artfully woven from the first wahine's hands. They loop from the roots of my toes to the tips of my hair. Incredibly complicated and impossible to copy. Kotiro Hinerangi is the furthest person we can trace back. She was a slave and married Alexander Gray. They made beautiful daughters who guided wahine and tāne through maunga and pink terraces. From Kotiro, we began in name. From Papatuanuku, we were born mana tauri. I draw a lot of mermaids. A lot of what I portray through my mermaids is that whole displacement thing, being a part of two worlds, having to sort of patch yourself up again. So she's sewing her tail back on, and that's kind of what it feels like for me being Māori. It's a healing process, but it's also really quite dark and sad as well, and kind of messy, like the charcoal. Been sad looking through my whakapapa and seeing the empty spaces, seeing the things that we can't record because it was destroyed, because the wahine and our whānau were not recorded, or they weren't really treated right, so we don't know who they were, and it's been interesting, it's been hard. It's hard to not know exactly where you come from because of colonisation, because people came in and hurt other people.
I'll react if I had to, put some things in the past to, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to.
When I'm putting up drawings about my heritage, about not being enough, or trying to tell myself finally that I am enough, I get really lovely messages, and people seem to really connect with some of the stuff I put out. I have met so many people who feel the same way, and I never realised that we were all in the same waka like that. People who feel inadequate, people who are not feeling enough Māori, that's such a vibe, eh? Everyone's feeling that, and I didn't know anyone was until I started sharing my own stuff. In between tasks, doing the dishes, brushing my hair, before starting a new book, stumbling through a te reo lesson, strapping on platform heels, booking a doctor's appointment, or getting my nails done, I feel the warm breath of my tupuna behind me, and I wonder, would you be proud? Have I utilised your gifts respectfully? Would you like who your tūhanga has become? They cannot answer now, so I answer myself. As a future ancestor, what do I want for my own tūhanga? What would I say to them?
Ko auaha a atamai e pāreka ana. E hara i te mea, ko tō tātou tino wehi, ko tō tātou hākoreatanga. Ko tō tātou tino wehi kē, ko te korenga o tātou pitomata i whai tuanui. Ko tātou Māori tīahoaho, kauaka, ko tātou auhekenga o tātou wehi nui.
What I love about footy, definitely fending people, running up the guts.
Tina Moata'ane!
Once I have the ball, everyone knows that Tina's gonna carry. They call me the Tina, the Tongan Tank. My name is Tina, Tina Moata'ane. I'm from Dunedin, and I play rugby for Otago. I've got 5 brothers, 2 sisters, Tongan family. Church is one of the biggest things in our culture, even with the gold tooth. That's part of our culture. That's how we're known as a Tongan. Our parents are real strict. We couldn't really hang out with our friends, or we couldn't do what a European family would do. Sleepovers, nah. Birthday parties, not really. In our culture, our parents tells us to focus on studying, school, but sometimes we're not good on the head. Maybe we were good with our hands, with sports. In my family, I was one of the fortunate ones to play sports, like given talent. Sport can be really expensive in high school, so going to tournaments, going to nationals, even like just getting to training, going home, who's going to take you to training, the pickups, the drop-offs. I think most Polynesian people are too scared to say they can't afford it, even though they're really good at playing the sport, but it's just putting the money into it, which is hard. And I started playing at the age of 16. This is where it all started. Pirates Wahine Rugby Club. The best team in Dunedin would be either us Pirates or the varsity girls. It comes to game day, it's whoever puts their body on the line. I was 16 when I made the wider squad for the Black Ferns. So that was my first year of playing footy. I had a few setbacks with relationship and with alcohol. I discovered freedom, socializing with my friends, going to potluck, going to dinners, going to birthdays. Wasn't really on the right mindset, so I lost motivation for footy. And then I got dropped. In 2018, I got injured before my pre-season game for Otago. So I was out for majority of the Otago and came back on the second last game. Made a good performance and knowing that the selectors are sitting somewhere, you got to perform your best. So I came back singing again. I played in the finals against Wellington for Otago. The first 5 minutes, re-injured my ankle. And that week, I was called up to go to Chicago for the Black Ferns, and the injury ruled me out. I just felt like everything was lost. Fell into depression with it. Pushed my friends away. Didn't want to hang out with them because I was in a moon boot, couldn't really do anything. This is one of my favorite places, just to restart my mind. If I'm going through rough times, everyone goes through a lot of stuff. Maybe getting away from it for a little bit. It's all about meditating, bringing yourself back to earth. All the stress during the week, and you just come in here and everything's, wiped away just like the waves. The hardest thing was coming into the gym and keeping fit, even when I was wearing a moon boot. It was just day by day. Had to hit every mark, had to stay fit, had to keep training, because that's the only way you can get better, is to recover well. 2019 was the year that everything went well. Provincial, Otago, we won the championship. Now we're in the top level now for this year. I also debuted for the Black Ferns in the 2 Test matches against Australia. At my debut, I felt real nervous, real nervous, emotional. It goes by so fast when you're in the jersey. You only have one job on the field. And when you get to that high level, everyone knows what they're doing.
I'm Christina's older brother, one of the older brothers. I'm honestly and truly proud of how far she's made it. Puts her family on the map pretty much,
When I got my cap, seeing my dad actually hold the hat, actually seeing his youngest daughter playing for New Zealand. It's just all the hard work. If it wasn't for them dropping me off to training, picking me up, feeding me, putting clothes on me, buying pairs of second-hand rugby boots, you know, all of the little things that counts. Definitely, this is me giving back to them. My goal for this year is hopefully perform well and perform to get selected. My long-term goal is World Cup. Wearing that black jersey, being a part of the top athletes, making the most of it.
Mēnā ko tāu ko tētahi ao houkura. Herea ki tētahi manako. Kaua ki te tangata, ki te aha noa iho rānei.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.